Cube has had this long-going thing with ownership of Friday.
Mm-hmm.
He's had this long-going thing with fighting the studios. They didn't want to do it.
Oh, man.
I even heard.
Yeah.
Fool, because it's Friday. So, can I tell you, the first Friday came out in 1995. That's when you were born, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now we're at 2025.
Wow.
It took that long to get another sequel out.
That's a 30-year, span, a 30-year franchise span.
Yeah.
Not a few, films actually have that life within them and stuff.
Now, young Laurel, I know that it is hard for you to understand why it would take a movie 30 years to come out with a sequel, a movie that everybody is crying and clamoring for.
Exactly.
Okay?
With big names like Ice Cube, Mike Epps, and Chris Tucker.
Oh yeah. Well, the first thing I heard, through the grapevine, was that Chris Tucker had moved on. He'd become a really big star. He didn't want to go on and do the next Friday, which I thought was the weaker of the franchise.
Yeah.
Of course, it spiked up when I came on the scene in Friday After Next.
Hey.
Woo! That was a great one.
Phenomenal.
So that was one issue and everything. But then also I've just looking at interviews, Ice Cube has had this long-going thing with ownership of Friday. Mm-hmm. He's had this long-going thing with fighting the studios. They didn't want to do it.
Oh, man.
I even heard that they told him that he had written a script and he wanted to place it in a jail.
Yeah.
And they told him that jail movies aren't funny. It's too long in the jail. It's not going to be a hit. Whatever.
Yeah.
Couple of years later, Orange is the New Black comes out. The stuff they used to tell us, okay? But we used to get a lot of that in the 90s. You're as African Americans, your viewership is too domesticated, and that's why we can only put a cap or a limit on what you guys could do as you build our networks.
Yeah.
But the thing about it was, we really made a difference back then.
Definitely.
We really, really, really did it.
I'll say.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah?
On the set of Friday, the original Friday, I actually hung out on that set.
Yeah.
I used to be really good friends with Regina King at the time, who was in the movie, of course.
Yeah.
And I remember for them to make this movie again. We've had so many really wonderful people pass. Yvette Wilson, who used to be on Moesha. I love her so much. I loved her. John Witherspoon, of course.
The GOAT.
I mean, so many people we've lost just trying to get it back. AJ Johnson is not with us anymore. And there was somebody else. I cannot remember.
Debo.
Oh, Tiny Lister.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Tiny Lister. Man. What's really interesting about Debo, though, is that there's a big court case in America right now with a guy named, I think his name is Big U. I don't know much about gang life, but I do know this guy is being indicted now. And Debo's character was based on Big U in the hood. And when you watch the movie now, I didn't know watching it. I'm from New York. We don't really know about gang stuff.
Yeah.
But when I watch it now and I'm watching clips, I'm seeing all these gang colors. And that's a Crip movie. When you look at it, that's what it is.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I mean, Ice Cube is from South Central. I think that's more heavily affiliated with the Crip.
You think so?
Yeah. Anyway.
I don't know about that, but there were so many memorable performances. One of the performances that I thought was just absolutely just amazing was the performance of Angela Means, who played the crackhead.
Oh, yeah.
And what's so funny about that, years later, she still is looked at like, haha, you're the crackhead. She's even had to come out and speak about that. And then just how demeaning that has been for her over the years. Isn't that crazy, though?
It is, but I think it also speaks to how impactful the movie was, that some of those characters still remained in their core, just perception of who they played and stuff. That movie really struck a chord with generations and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That's just still perceived that way, even 30 years later, as they're about to do another sequel.
I think that is a movie for the diaspora. It's for everybody, but it really hits for Black people around the world. Because even when you look at the scenes, they look like, it's in L.A., but sometimes it looks like it could be in Africa or it could be in the Caribbean. The way the houses are, the way people stick their head in the window or hop up into the window. It's just, it's so crazy. And the characters are people that we, Black people, see like all over the world, like Mrs. Parker. Everybody had a Mrs. Parker in every hood. I mean, and I really love, of course, Paula J. Parker, who actually is a friend of mine. She was amazing in that movie. I mean, just the way that people don't really know that Paula really is not a hood like that. You know, she really isn't. But she just got her. She does this thing where she goes and pauses before she goes and starts talking to dude. Oh my gosh. That was just absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, the thing I think that struck a chord the most about the Friday movies and other movies that Ice Cube has done is the capturing of the talent, you know. When I did Friday After Next, what a lot of people don't know, I don't know how they did Friday, okay? But when we did Friday After Next, there was no real script. You would walk in the morning, and you would be handed a script, like they're like these pages for the day. Yeah, you know, I didn't really even know what the structure of the movie was when I was never given a script. I was just told to come onto the set. You know,
if I may ask, then how did you audition? How did you know? Were you just like selected by your agent to like play the part?
No, I wish my agent would just select me. Yeah. No, your agent is an advocate for you, you know, and puts your name in the hat. So the funny thing about Friday After Next for me was I auditioned for the part of the lead, that a woman named K.D. O'Bear actually played the lead in Friday After Next. Yeah. And beautiful, beautiful girl. So when my agent called me and said, hey, Trina, you got a part. He didn't say you got the part. He said you got a part. Yeah. So I'm thinking, I got the lead. I got the lead in Friday After Next. No, you didn't quite get the lead, honey. You know, but so you got the part of someone named Cinnamon. Okay.
I remember. Cinnamon.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't know what that was. Is there a script? No. Just show up on Tuesday on set. So I show up, right? Yeah. And, it takes a long time to actually get started filming. I actually filmed only for a week, but I didn't really start filming. If we started on a Monday, I didn't really start filming to a Thursday. Wow. There were no rehearsals. And I was just sitting in my trailer most of the time. You know, like, okay, I wonder when this is going to happen. Then finally on a Thursday, they call me in my trailer and they say, okay, you ready to do your scene? I'm like, well, wait, I don't have any lines. I don't know who I am. This is what they used to do to us back in the day, right? So I go into wardrobe and they say, here, put this on. Put this on was a ball. It was a ball. It was a stocking in my hand. It was literally a stocking. Put this on. Okay. So I go and I put this outfit on and it's literally a stocking, a body stocking with a fishnet over it with no underwear, nothing. Okay. And I just, okay. Finally, they tell me I'm going to be one of Pinky's hoes. I hadn't watched the original Fridays at this point in my life. I didn't really know what that meant. Yeah. And I went home after that. I was like, well, I'm going to be a hoe. I was on this nice family show, Boy Meets World. What do you mean? And my agent was like, look, you wanted to be in the movies. This is a classic movie. I didn't know it was a classic then. I just thought it was some ghetto film. You know, I was kind of like upset a little bit, but I sucked it up. I was like, you know, I did it. I actually just really needed to pay my rent. So I was like, I better just do this. Yeah. And I did the party scene. I walk onto the set in this outfit and it looks like I'm naked. And Mike Epps just looks at me and he goes, you naked. Everybody, she's naked. She's naked. Oh, man. Naked wasn't even like sexual. It was just like, why are you naked? Okay. But, you know, he was looking at me like you somebody's daughter and you just naked here. But yeah, that's what they used to do back in the day. They wouldn't tell you had to do it. Sex scenes and stuff. They're like back then, they would really honestly just trick you into it. Yeah. So, that's what happened. But getting back to the talent on the show, what was so amazing is that he didn't have a script really. That was really set in any stone. He would come in the morning, a PA would hand you these scripts. Yeah. And everyone would look at them. and throw them out the window. Everyone would just throw the script out the window. And then Ice Cube would go, okay, y'all, this what's going to happen. You mad at her and she got to walk over there and tell her about it. Now go. Action. And literally no one would go by script. Everyone would just improv everything and just improv